And make sure no one has our, oh,
All right. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
hello.
I was like, you want to say hi or just do a little, what are
Okay, wait, I think we're all supposed to introduce ourselves.
Yes. Okay. You guys can go first.
Okay. I'm Ivy. I'm in group 2. I gave feedback.
I'm Ty. I was in the first group, I guess. I did the article.
I'm Rashad. I was in group 1. I did articles as well, or a article.
I'm Cassie.
Group
I'm also
2.
in group 1.
I'm Morgan. I was also in group 1.
I'm Kelsey, and I was in group 1 for the generating of the draft.
I'm Sharon. I was in group 2 giving feedback.
All right.
So looking at the reference page, I think it looked great. I know there's some people who commented on it, so I don't know if they want to talk about it. But you guys had all 7 articles, so that was cool.
The only thing I noticed were some of like the journal titles could be italicized, and there was some with like some spelling errors, so maybe just checking those.
Yeah. And I know Mackenzie also said just to kind of look at the APA formatting on some of them too.
Was there a specific article that we should be concerned about APA format?
The article 7 is the one that Mackenzie kind of noted.
Okay.
And then I think article 2 is the one that Sharon said to be italicized.
Perfect. Thank you.
Other than that, I think the reference page looked great. I don't know if you guys want to go down to the second part 2. We can kind of chat about that too. One thing Mackenzie kind of looked at during like the paraphrasing for the history part is just kind of looking at like the grammar and the formatting, like maybe adding commas and just kind of looking at how that all looks.
Okay.
We can definitely look at our formatting for those paraphrasing areas. Was there anything about the bullet pointed evidence from our articles that you would suggest fixing?
It wasn't in the bullet pointed one. It was the one with like the paraphrase definition. Mackenzie just said maybe adding a comma in between like the treatment and that to fix grammar.
Okay. I see where she's talking.
Scrolling down a little bit, I really liked in the testing section how y'all talked about how the scores can be influenced both positively and negatively. I think that showed like a good range of how testing can affect that internal validity.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, okay, one thing I did notice in the instrumentation part, maybe just adding a little bit more clarity and maybe some specific changes in how collecting the data can change the validity. I think just being more specific might further prove your point a little bit.
Thank you for your feedback.
Going down, if you guys look at the procedural infidelity, I was looking at the first bullet point, and I think that you guys put like a really good emphasis on the importance of making sure that intervention is being implemented the way it should be, and kind of inputting that there could be mixed results because of it. So I thought that was great.
Scrolling down a little bit to the multiple intervention interference, I really liked how you included different examples and kind of gave that clarity that I was talking about earlier.
Thank you.
Much feedback for the rest of this section. Everything looked really good to us. I think the next comment was in part 3, where we start looking at external validity. So I looked at the generality across age, and I just really like that we talked about how it's really important to include participants from our age group because 18 to 70 is such a vast demographic. So it's important that participants from all pieces of that age group are identified somewhere within our article. I left one more comment on generality across race or ethnicity. I think we could just maybe add a statement about how it's important to consider like how people from different cultural backgrounds might perceive our intervention and how that may impact their participation or the overall effectiveness of it. But other than that, I think everything looks pretty good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will definitely
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Just kind of scrolling down a little bit. This one's a little like tiny one. For the generality across participants, the 3, there is like a normal 3 and then there's like a crossed out 3. That's the only one I noticed. It just could be a little bit confusing, so I've just double checked that.
Yeah, we do need to double check a couple of our numbers and ensure that they are accurate with the articles, which we plan to review and finalize that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The next one I did was the one right underneath it, the gender diversity. I was looking at the last section. It was kind of worded a little bit weird. It kind of flowed like all one sentence. So I would just kind of look at rewording it as like maybe saying like the study that like it may investigate one gender or the other, kind of adding like more grammar, like periods, commas, things like that. And just saying like this will not account for the variation of results due to the differences, just kind of looking at like the commas and the periods.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
just had one more similar comment on clarity under generality across in participants with different sexual orientations. There was a phrase that says studies intervening on individuals. I just think maybe changing it to something like studies including participants might be like more of a neutral statement.
Thank
That's
you.
good feedback. Thank you.
Yes, and then one more generality across settings. I had something similar where the phrase was in the sense of repeating the study. I said consider replacing with maybe in future replication studies just for clarity and conciseness.
Was there anything else in section 3 that we should look at?
I just had one more tiny note in the summary at the end, where I highlighted study, just because I'm said maybe change it to like our intervention or the validity of our chosen intervention, just because we're researching like one intervention as a whole, but we're referencing a bunch of studies, so that might make it a little bit more clear, but that was it, just something really small.
Anything when we're looking at the 4th part?
The 4th one, yeah.
Let's see, I made a note under social significance / social appropriateness. I don't think it's anything that necessarily needs to be changed, but I just said that what was written about cultural relevance could maybe fit for both because I don't know, they are similar concepts. So I don't think anything necessarily needs to be changed, but it was more just of a, I don't know, statement about it, I guess.
The next one, it's from Mackenzie. She said social meaningfulness. She said that the first part for you guys, she really, really thought this was like an amazing definition. And it was just super important and it looked great and it was a great explanation. And then going into like your last summary, Mackenzie also said this was great and that you guys did a great job of providing that detail and the reasoning for your intervention. I also said that I thought this looked great, and I think you guys provided details to why you think this or intervention needs more evidence. So I think it just overall looked great. But that
Thank
was all
you.
we had.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
That's great feedback.
It sounds like overall we just need a bit more specific. Whoa, I can't say that word. You guys know what I'm trying to say. And a couple of the definitions, but otherwise, and then like a couple of grammar things, but otherwise it looked pretty good if I'm understanding
Yeah,
correctly.
I think it looked pretty good. I think you guys did great with this.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, we will make those corrections and review the checklist with all of our feedback. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. We'll see you in a little bit.